Well, I believe we are indeed back, ladies and gentlemen. We're back. This weekend in the football has returned, and I've actually titled the episodes now. This is episode 109. So, went past 100 last year. We're over 100 this year. And this season, already started off on a weird February, January, and the entire off season has been certainly something. Um, I, I don't know where to begin because so much that has happened, and there's not much I can really say. It's like, oh well, you know, there's no way I can recap 6 months of absolute nonsense that's been going on. The AIF is back. Smithkin is running roughshod over things. Don Montero's played in the game. And a lot of players, the Cedar Rapids and stuff like that. Kind of got whooped around. White Cavalry are a thing, kinda, in a way. Of course, the other Michigan team got ejected from the league for just not being up to standard. And, the AIF has guys that are involved that have been in and around the scene, and it's just like, oh, it's these guys, you know. So right now things are murky, but kind of give a little bit more of what I can say next week, I think. And I think things should go a little bit more well next week as far as the AF goes, because I mean, you know they're just trucking along. NAL, we have a team in Dallas. We have a team that is playing Fair Park. The team has been using AI consistently for the entirety of their time that they've been existing so far. Fair Park, for all that it's worth, finally said, you know what? We're going to promote the Dallas Bulls today. We're going to do that. We're going to promote the Bulls today. We have fun. There's, the Dallas Sports Commission is kind of behind, some things too. But, as far as Fair Park is concerned, the fact that the Bulls weren't listed on Fair Park for the longest, and the fact that they do have issues as far as head coaching concerns, they've got a guy in Rodney Blackshear, but he left, and then the other guys took over. Uh, been tryouts, a lot has been wearing prime gears, so a lot. So I'm assuming some of these guys that are going to be on the Bulls played for the Dallas Prime. Um, okay, sorry about that dog barking in the background. But yeah, Dallas has been a interesting case. The Pueblo Punishers, of course, have a Punisher ripoff logo, so just kind of things that have been happening. But they played the Northern Colorado Nightmare this past Saturday because the Austin Falcons and Tyrone Washington backed out. Tyrone Washington's all over Facebook, and everything like that. We'll talk about something else last that really shouldn't have to be brought up again, but we'll bring it up again last just to kind of you know do some things about that. NAL has their own streaming service now. Are the broadcasts going to be the same and everything like that? Are the standards going to be the same? I don't really know. There was a little bit of issue with the scoreboard during this game because, it just said first quarter pretty much the entire time. Pueblo's arena looks pretty nice, independent end zones over reused ones, obviously. The crowd didn't look too, maybe 1,000 people, maybe less than that. But, they had a good time for a game that, was a blowout. And the NAL, promoting their own streaming service, it's what, $30 for the entire season. The games are archived for free, so, that's good at least. And the NAL with the 9 teams that they have, inviting back Southwest Kansas, inviting back Salina, getting Amarillo, getting Dallas, Pueblo, I mean, it's an intriguing time. I think I think the NAL this year, if things go the way they should go, and the league looks more like something like the IFL has been over the past like 5 years, I think the NAL will be fine. But the way things have been changing, as far as leadership goes in the NAL, it's like, I'm really hoping that things can turn around. I'm hoping the guys, and a lot of these, and a couple of these guys I know, turn it around and get it together because, you know, a lot of people have been saying for years, hey, the NAL is going to fold. The NAL is going to fold. The NAL doesn't fold, but it just looks bad every single season. And this year there doesn't need to be anything like that. And I've said this last year, and I'll say it again this year. The NAL doesn't need any nonsense this year. If you want to be the league that is rising up to the cream of the crop, you don't get compared to anybody, and you want to be your own thing. That's fine, but just do it right. If you do it right, you'll have a good time. If not, then you'll be like the AF1 here, who's kind of just meandering with things, having Oceanside share arenas with San Diego. Yes, I follow all the cheerleaders on IG, well, basically all of them. Yes, I might try and get one of them on the channel. It's done deal. It's given at this point. But the AF1 has been slow to roll things out. Don't really know the streaming service yet. Kind of have an idea of the home games, and the schedule and everything like that. Yeah, the schedule was released like a month or so ago, and things are kind of getting finalized as they can. Yes, there's been signs and stuff like that, but other than that, it's just been pretty murky, pretty quiet, for next month. I think the AF1 is gonna have a season that's gonna happen again. Same kind of concerns. I'm having a little internet issues, so there is that. I just wanted to get that out the way, and I'm also recording this on my phone too, so that's also a thing. AF1, same issues, as the NAL. Like, can y'all get it together this year? Titus is taking a year off. Albany's still Albany, doing their thing, as best as they can, but other teams gonna have to step it up. Beaumont, you won the NAL championship last year. I'm coming. I'm coming this year. I'm coming. Let's just keep it 100%. I'm coming. 4th of July weekend. I am coming to Beaumont, Texas. You're gonna see them take on Oregon. A lot of people don't really think Oregon's gonna make it. The way that they've been, because they and Washington are kind of on an island by themselves. So things are gonna be thinking. Um, where do we go from here with the AF1? Who knows? IFL, they've gathered a pool of broadcasters and said, "Hey, we're gonna do our thing with Yahoo and another partner." Now, FanDuel was supposed to be the original partner, but that kind of fizzled out. So the other 55 games, 64 other games will be on Yahoo, including the championship, all the playoff games, the IFL Cup, which is a thing that's going inside the American Dream Mall, because why not? Why not? New Mexico's back. I mean, New Mexico was originally on the list for me to go to. I was gonna, be like, all right, I'm gonna go to New Mexico. But Beaumont opened up the opportunity for me to go to Beaumont instead. So I think I will be heading to Beaumont, Texas this 4th of July. And I will be heading to San Antonio for, you know, Memorial Day weekend. Memorial Day weekend, it'll be Tucson and San Antonio. I'll have full details of basically all of the indoor and arena football games I'll be going to, but y'all have already heard of two of them. The last of which I will reveal over the course of the next week. So um, it's gonna be an intriguing time this year as far as me going to games because last season I was supposed to go to San Antonio, but there was a massive storm that basically messed everything up. Couldn't go to San Antonio that weekend, so it would have been nice, but I couldn't go. Um, IFL this year, a lot of the same things that would kind of be regurgitated, reverberated, whatever you want to call it. You know, the way some of these teams have went out is sad. Sioux Falls gone, Frisco gone, Bismarck been gone. You know, But if New Mexico can revitalize, Tingley Coliseum and everything like that, if Arizona continues to be Arizona, if some of these other teams continue to step it up, and the signings have been stellar as usual. A lot of people think Quad City is going to win the IFL championship this year. I think, Green Bay bringing back a lot of their guys. I mean, Vegas, looking interesting. It's an interesting season. It's going to be an interesting way things are going to be. Jacksonville's still looking like Jacksonville. I think I think this IFL season is going to show us a lot. It's going to show us a lot of things. And the TAL, to really kind of get things, wrapped up as far as the big ones go. Monroe, that logo looks amazing. Foosers Sports, the guys that designed the logos for the last couple of teams, the Nebraska Siege, the Memphis Hounds. I think it's the Memphis Hounds. I forgot the name of the team. I'm sorry. But Memphis, to offset Minnesota going to the AF1, and Stephen Titus, of course, going off to Louisiana, of course. Um, or not Stephen Titus, Steve Walters, my boy Steve Walters going off to Louisiana, of course. Um, TAL said, all right, we're going to embrace what we are, continue to be a 7-on-7 brand, get us up to 8 teams. As Tim Brown was alluding to, Tim Brown said 10, but hey, I'll accept 8. 8 is a good number. 8 is a good number for a league of this caliber for right now. I don't think this league needs to expand for like another year or so. At least two. Give it 2 years, see how these teams do, and then, reevaluate. But the TAL, yeah, social media has been a little bit quieter for the TAL, similar to the AF1, but I'm just saying, the TAL knows what it's doing. It knows what it is in the landscape, and it's just trying to have the best fun it can while being a league that can provide the same amount of entertainment as some of these other leagues can. And last but not least, good old Frederick Elliott, a guy who's been around the indoor and arena sphere for quite some time now. He's been around, he's got, you know, Knoxville, the Bandits, he's got his own Facebook, that, a lot of people gather on because, a lot of these teams and stuff like that use Facebook, you know, a lot of these players and coaches still use Facebook for some reason when the IG is right there and nobody wants to use Twitter. Nobody wants to use Twitter. I don't understand. But anyway, you know, him, Stephen of Inside the Arena, who's quote unquote retiring at the end of the season, which I'm like, okay, guy, whatever, my guy, you're retiring. You've said that like 5 times over the past like 4 years, and you haven't retired yet. Um, Elliot continues to bring up the whole Bob Bush situation, which I understand why he would bring that up. But at the end of the day, this is stuff we found out last year, and we already know, and nothing's been done about it. Like nothing has been done about it. It's yes, his actions in the past were absolutely disgusting. Is he involved with sharks? Very, in a capacity. And of course, a lot of that just happened. My goodness. Um, yeah, there's been some issues. I'm gonna have to go in and post and edit some of that out. Um, but yeah, Elliot and the whole situation with Bob is just like, why are we even bring this up for one? Two, you and Stephen you like to, say what you want to say and, lie about your engagement and whatever. It's like, my numbers are right here. My numbers are right here. Do the numbers look good every week? No. No, they do not. I'm just gonna be keep it 150% with y'all. Do the numbers look good every week? No. 20, 30 views a week on this show every single week. It ain't looking too pretty because I'm not the source. I'm not the source. I don't want to be the source because if I were the source, then everything would be a problem. I'm entirely too busy to be the source. I have other things to do. But some of these guys like to take what they can and run with it, and it's just like, what are we even doing here? The integrity of this sport is already, and I've said this many, many times over the years. The integrity of the sport is already in a crater right now. There are guys like off the wall. There are guys like my boy Sam Shady and Chris and all them that are doing the right thing, that are doing the right way, and everything like that, asking the questions the right way. And then there's some guys that just don't do that. I guarantee you, there might be somebody that pops up this year. It's like, oh, I want to be this and that, and it's like, bro, this is indoor and arena football. This is not the highest, level of football. This is the level where, you get some guys that are gonna be around 10 years into the local staples. And you're gonna get some guys that are gonna be around 6 months and are like, hey, I'm gonna try and get back in the NFL or the CFL, the UFL or whatever. It's just annoying at this point, you know. Um, I'm at that point where it's like, hey, I'm gonna have to reach out to one of them at this point, get their and get into their brains a little bit because I believe there's something completely wrong here. You know, I'm just saying. So in 2 weeks, or rather in 11 days, actually less than 2 weeks, we will be at Fair Park. Big Boy Sports will be at Fair Park. The Dallas Bulls, for now, are confirmed to be at Fair Park and will be playing at Fair Park. So Ricky Burtz was right. I've doubted this team for the entire time they've existed, but they were in Carrollton the other day. They're doing stuff. They're doing stuff around the community. Are these all in places that I would want to go? Not particularly, you know, but they're trying to gain awareness. They're trying to get people out to come to Fair Park, to make Fair Park into something, better than what it has been, because Fair Park is just not a great area. And I've said this, as not just a fan, but as a person, in general, like that is not a place to be, after a certain point. And, the Bulls, they want to make it work. And a lot of teams this season want to make it work. But can they make it work? Like the Muskies, they didn't make it work. They're already gone. It's barely even March, and we already have a team that's kicked out of their league. So, in any case, that's going to do it for me. I didn't expect this to be as long as it was, nor did I expect any of the issues that I have. Again, these are issues that I'm going to be working on because, um, right now I'm back in an old area where I used to live at, and you know, back over here, there's been some internet issues with me. I'll have to clear up and figure out over the next couple weeks and stuff like that. And I still have no laptop. Still have no laptop. So I'm gonna be trying to figure out what in the world can I do to get a laptop, to make video recording a lot easier. Until then, Big Boy Sports is signing out, and I will see you all yet again next Tuesday night for more indoor and arena football nonsense. Again, can't recap 6 months, but I can recap this week.